Hi students, Logan Phillips here. On this video we're going to be talking about the SWOT analysis. So let's go ahead and get into your presentation, look at it, and go through it. Now in this short lecture we're going to cover the SWOT analysis, what it is, how it works, and how to use it correctly so it actually helps you make decisions. Now SWOT is one of those tools that looks simple, and it is, but most people use it in a way that produces a nice looking 2x2 box and zero actual useful information or strategy. So So the goal for today is practical. By the end of this, you should be able to build a SWOT that is specific, evidence-based, and ends with clear actions you could defend in a real meeting. So let's start with the definition. What is SWOT? Did it swap? There we go. Now, SWOT is a fast, structured way to diagnose where you are and what you should do next. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Here's the key point. SWOT is a diagnostic tool. It is not a strategy by itself. A SWOT doesn't magically tell you what to do. What it does is it organizes reality into a format that makes decision-making clearer. And when I say reality, I mean evidence plus context. Not vibes, not guesses, not we're awesome or the economy is bad. A SWOT is useful when you need a clear snapshot before choosing a direction, like launching a new initiative or improving a program, responding to a competitive pressure, or making decisions under resource constraints. If you're about to commit time, money, staffing, and public credibility to something, a SWOT helps you slow down for 10 minutes and ask, what do we actually have? What's working? What's broken? And what's changing around us? So let's make this a little bit concrete with some actual framework. Now, SWOT is organized into 4 quadrants based on one cone or one core idea. Some factors are internal to you, things you control. Other factors are external, things you don't control, but must respond to. So here's the breakdown. Strengths are what you do well right now. Assets, capabilities, advantages, resources, relationships, things you can leverage immediately. Weaknesses are where you're vulnerable. Things like gaps, constraints, pain points, any bottlenecks you have, things that reduce performance or increase the risk. Opportunities are external tailwinds, trends, needs, opening, growing demand, underserved groups, things that you can capitalize on. And threats are external headwinds, risks, competition, constraints, regulations, economic shifts, things that could hurt outcomes. Now, a good SWOT is balance, not strengths, 12 items, weaknesses, 1 item. If that happens, it usually means the person is writing a marketing flyer, not actually a diagnostic. So before we go any further, I want to hit the number 1 mistake people make. Internal versus external. This is the most common failure mode. People mix up internal and external. Here's the simple rule. Internal, you control it. External, you react to it. So internally, you control skills and people, processes, budget choices, tools and capacity, your own data, quality, and access. Externally, you react to things like market trends and demands, competitors and substitutes, regulations and economic shifts. So there's a very good quick test for this. If you can fix it with an internal decision, staffing, training, process change, better measurement, that is an internal policy. If you can't fix it directly and you can only respond strategically, it's external. So as an example, if your advising follow-up process is inconsistent, that's a weakness. You own it. If your competitor programs are growing online and pulling away, that's a threat. You don't control it. So getting this right matters because if you mix them, your strategy turns into confusion. So let's talk about building a SWOT that isn't generic. Now, a strong SWOT is evidence-based, specific, and decision-oriented. Most of your data analysis is always for the purpose of making decisions. So this is a great tool in real-life practice on how to do that. Here's a process I want you to use. Number 1, I want you to start with a goal. What decision are we trying to make? Are we trying to increase enrollment, improve retention, reduce cost, improve student success, grow a program, fix a process? If you don't start with a decision, you'll end up with a random bullet points. Step 2, gather quick evidence. Not a 40-hour research project, just enough to avoid making things up. You're looking for data like trends over time, outcome metrics, feedback patterns, benchmark against peers, and capacity constraints. Step 3 is brainstorm, then rank. Get your list, then force yourself to choose the few that matter the most. If everything is important, nothing is important. And step 4 is to validate. Ask, is this internal or external? Is it specific enough that we can prove it? So what? If this is true, what changes? And if your SWOT doesn't end with action, it is incomplete. So the next slide is going to give you some prompt questions that make this much, much easier. If you ever feel stuck, we can use prompt questions like these that force specificity. Strengths, ask yourself, what do we do better than peers? What resource do we have that others don't? What do customers or students consistently praise? Weaknesses, we're going to ask ourselves, where do we lose time, money, or quality? What constraints limit performance? What complaints keep repeating? For opportunity, what trends are we leveraging? What unmet need exists? Where is demand increasing? And then threats, what could disrupt outcomes? What competitors or substitutes exist? And what risks are rising? Cost, rules, funding, public trust. These questions are usually useful because they naturally produce items that you can measure and act on. The whole point being that decision. Now let's walk through a real-world example. In our rotating contents, we're going to look at higher education for this one and student success analytics. So if we're looking at an example of student success analytics in higher ed specifically, here's a SWOT focused on improving retention. That's students staying in school and finishing, and reducing DFW rates or dropout rates. And I want you to notice how each item is concrete. Strengths, experienced faculty, and gateway courses. We have strong tutoring center capacity. We have a Power BI dashboards available to our advisors here at TCC. These are internal assets that we can leverage right now to impact dropout rates and our retention rates. Our weaknesses, we have inconsistent early alert follow-through. We have a bunch of data silos. The LMS engagement, our learning management system, Blackboard Ultra, does not line up with our advising notes. We have limited evening support for working adults. These are internal constraints that block success. And notice these aren't moral failures, they're operational realities. So this creates some opportunities. We can co-requisite support model is expanding. We can use employer partnerships for internships. We can do proactive outreach using engagement signals. These are external tailwinds, things happening around you that we can use. And we have some external threats. We have online competitors and alternative credentials like micro-credentials rising. We have financial stress and work hours that are impacting our students. We have enrollment volatility and demographic shifts. People sort of starting to buy out of college. Those are headwinds that we at TCC don't control, but ignoring them is very, very expensive. So now, here's the key. This SWOT is still not strategy until we convert it into decisions. This is exactly what you do next inside of a SWOT. We turn SWOT into strategy. And this is where most people just flat out stop, and that's why their SWOT becomes useless. We're going to turn SWOT into actions using a simple approach called a TOWS matrix, T-O-W-S matrix. You can create moves in 4 categories. SO, we use strengths to seize opportunities. Example, using tutoring capacity and dashboards to target outreach and gateway courses. That's leverage. We take what we're already good at and apply it where environment is favorable. We have the WO, fix weaknesses to unlock opportunities. WO, weaknesses and opportunities. An example here would be to integrate our LMS engagement signals with advising notes so early alerts actually lead to action. That's removal. Fix the internal friction that prevents you from taking advantage of an external opening. Then we have ST. Use strengths to reduce threats. Strengths, threats, ST. Example, we have the differentiate with measurable outcomes and employer-aligned pathways. That's defense using capability. You can use what you're good at to protect yourself from pressure. Then we have WT, defensive moves, minimizing weaknesses and avoiding threats. Weaknesses, threats, WT. Example, expanding evening support options for working adults before they stop out. That's damage control. Not exciting, but sometimes it's the smartest move. When you do this correctly, SWOT stops being a poster and becomes a decision engine. Now, let's make sure you avoid the most common traps of this. If your SWOT is vague, it won't help you make any decisions. Here are the usual mistakes. Mistake 1, vague items. Great culture, bad communication. Those are not SWOT items. They're conversation starters. Fix it by making them specific. Staff turnover increased 18% year over year in advising. Student report averages email response time is 4 days. With those statements, we can act, make those decisions. Mistake number 2 is too many items. If you list 20 things per quadrant, you will do nothing. The rule is to aim for a short list you can actually use, then rank your top priorities. And mistake 3 is no action. A SWOT that doesn't end with 2 or 3 strategic moves is incomplete and a waste of time. So the best rule of thumb on the slide is someone else could copy paste your SWOT into their organization. It's too generic. So let's go ahead and close with a quick practice you can do immediately. And this doesn't matter what industry or what programs, if you're trying to start a company or you're trying to do little side hustles. This is a SWOT you can do very quickly. We're going to build a SWOT in 10 minutes and take it and turn it into 2 actions. I want you to pick one target. Choose a business a campus program, a student success initiative, or your own professional plan. I want you to write 4 items per quadrant, but keep them specific, not generic. Convert it into action using TOES. Create 1 SO move, strength and opportunity. 1 WO or ST move, fix a weakness or reduce a threat. Now, SWOT is only valuable when it leads to decisions you can defend with evidence. That's the standard for this course. Not just making charts, not filling out boxes, but making decisions or statements you can clearly defend. Well, that's it for this lecture. I'll see you in the next one. That is SWOT analysis and how to do it in a practical way very, very quickly. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, jump in and enjoy.